Hi everybody. In this week we're basically going to go over investment strategy and economic rents. I know the syllabus says chapter 10 and 11. Chapter 10 I'm just going to attach the PowerPoint so you guys have it. But really the concept is here in chapter 11 and that's what I'm going to focus on in this week's video. Homework and also the discussion piece. So the idea that we're talking about is still investment in projects and economic rents and strategies, kind of combining a couple of these things. And I want to point you to page 294 and 295 of the book. It's the last page of this chapter where I feel like it's summarized very, very well. Where the author goes over how in Wikipedia there's a list of 1,800 car manufacturers that existed in the U.S. and how in modern times now they're boiled down to 3 companies, and 2 of them went bankrupt in 2009 and rescued by the U.S. government. And essentially the same thing for airlines, where over 150 have entered Chapter 11 bankruptcy, and now there's literally only 4 companies: American, Delta, United, and Southwest. So what it's talking about is what are economic rents. In a way, economic rents is when a company is receiving an extraordinary positive NPV on its projects because it's ahead of other company, or just period, it is receiving a positive NPV and it's just doing a good job. And why is that happening? It's happening because there's an economic rent, which means that there's a competitive advantage. And the question that this chapter really describes is the strategy piece: is figure out how long is that economic rent is going to continue, how long is that competitive advantage going to survive. And in the second column here, according to Warren Buffett, the key to investing is not assessing how much an industry is going to affect society or how much it will grow, but rather determining the competitive advantage of any given company, and above all, the durability of that advantage. The products or services that have wide sustainable moats around them are the ones that deliver rewards to investors. So in other words, great investing means companies continue to have projects with positive NPV, which means they continue to collect economic rents. It means basically a sustainable economic rent is a sustainable competitive advantage. And that's an interesting way of thinking of investing, rather than just thinking of a growth company, right? Or a growth industry. It's more like how long can you sustain that advantage, and that's interesting to think about. Hey, Apple maybe is doing a pretty good job at that, and it's been a good stock, so to speak. Google has been doing a pretty good job at that. Of many companies, but just saying how, oh wow, think about it in that way, and we're gonna get into it on a more detailed level in terms of going through the several case studies in this chapter. And what we'll go through is, I recommend going through and reading the 3 examples. I think we have the department store, investing in a new department store, where it's a play on kind of being in the retail environment as well as the real estate. And then we're going to go through operating a gold mine, looking at another interesting discount series with the gold, investing in a gold mine. And then looking at, we had a U.S. chemical producer, the example on page 286, 11.3, where they saved $100 million by avoiding an investment. Also a very interesting example. And moving on to page 290, where we actually go through a case study of Marvin's expansion. And this is where I recommend you guys, kind of going through it and trying to jot down your own idea of what's going to happen after the questions. There's 5 questions on page 289, and I recommend just going up to them, reading that, and then spending 30 minutes jotting down your own NPV analysis of the situation, and then looking at page 290 through to page 292 to seeing the analysis that they have there. It's very interesting just to get a head start.